Jamunatiravanachaри. Jamunatiravanachaри. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vivo! Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jijago! Wake up! Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Radha Madhavashta Saki Panchatattva Prahlad Maharaj Nrsimha Bhagavan Ki Jai. Wakey. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet Ashtaprayesva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of comfort, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God. The author. Transcendental song established as irrevocable fact, and the translator and the commentator, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we are reading, good morning devotees, Hare Krishna. We're reading, discussing, and meditating on starting the second chapter of the first canto. What happens? First canto, first chapter was questions by the sages, right? So what happens after questions? that is part of the process. We might get confused by answers, right? We might get confused by answers, so we follow up with, as sage Anthony has pointed out, with more questions. So it's Q&A. And when we put a stoppage to Q&A, then something very interesting happens. What happens when we stop Q&A? When there's no questions, no answers. Yes. Yes. Have you heard of the song Mad World? Yes. All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces. You know the song? It says, bright and early for their daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere. And I find it kind of funny. I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. He's speaking the truth here. This is Kali Yuga description. Which really was sad to me is the part when it talks about children. So children waiting for the day they feel good. It's very sad. Happy birthday. Made to feel the way that every child should. Sit and listen. Sit and listen. Went to school, and I was very nervous. You remember your school days? You had so many questions, but who answered them? Just go with the program, right? That's what Prabhupada calls the schools slaughterhouses. What is being slaughtered is our intelligence. You can ask some questions because there's no answers, right? Anyway, I was very nervous going to school because no one knew me. No one knew me. No one knew me. Hello, teacher. Tell me, what's my lesson? Looking right through me. Looking right through me. Very nice. Very accurate. Anyway, you can look it up later. But that's what happens when we stop feeding the intelligence with good questions that reflect on important things in life, and also good, perfect answers. Without that, it's just a swamp, right, Anthony? A swamp, you said swamp. Yeah. So we wanna hear the nectarian flow of Srimad Bhagavatam that will sufficiently provide not just good questions, but good answers that we can relate to and be nourished, spiritually nourished. So, chapter 2, Divinity and Divine Service. Text 1 and 2. So we can read 1 and then we'll get into the Sanskrit of 2. If somebody can read and then I'll read 2.
Rukrashrava Sutta Goswami, the son of Romaharshana, being fully satisfied by the perfect questions of the Brahmins, thanked them and thus attempted to reply.
Go ahead. Srila Sutta Goswami said, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto that great sage Shukadeva Goswami, who can enter the hearts of all. When he went away to take up the renounced order of life, sannyas, leaving home without undergoing reformation by the sacred thread or the ceremonies observed by higher castes, his father, Vyasadeva, fearing separation from him, cried out, 'O my son, O my son!' Indeed, only the trees which were absorbed in the same feelings of separation echoed in response to the grieved father." Purport, a wonderful purport. Oh. Anybody wants to read the purport? Bruce, yes, enthusiastically.
Purport. The institution of Varna and Ashram prescribes many regulative duties to be observed by its followers. Such duties enjoin that a candidate willing to study the Vedas must approach a bona fide spiritual master and request acceptance as his disciple. The sacred thread is the sign of those who are competent to study the Vedas from the Acarya, or the bona fide spiritual master. Sri Shukadeva Goswami did not undergo such purificatory ceremonies because he was a liberated soul from his very birth. Generally, a man is born as an ordinary being, and by the purificatory process, he is born for the second time. When he sees a new light and seeks direction for spiritual progress, he approaches a spiritual master for instruction in the Vedas. The spiritual master accepts only the sincere inquirer as his disciple and gives him the sacred thread. In this way, a man becomes a twice-born, or Dvija. After qualifying as a Dvija, one may study the Vedas, and after becoming well-versed in the Vedas, one becomes a Vipra. A Vipra, or a qualified Brahmana, thus realizes the absolute and makes further progress in spiritual life until he reaches the Vaishnava stage. The Vaishnava stage is the postgraduate status of a Brahmana. A progressive Brahmana must necessarily become a Vaishnava, for a Vaishnava is a self-realized, learned Brahmin. Srila Sukadeva Goswami was a Vaishnava from the beginning. Therefore, there was no need for him to undergo all the processes of the Varnashram institution. Ultimately, the aim of the Varnashram Dharma is to turn a crude man into a pure devotee of the Lord, or a Vaishnava. Anyone, therefore, who becomes a Vaishnava, accepted by the first-class Vaishnava, or Uttama Adhikari Vaishnava, is already considered a Brahmana, regardless of his birth or past deeds. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted this principle and recognized Srila Haridas Thakur as the Acharya of the holy name, although Thakur Haridas appeared in a Mohammedan family. In conclusion, Srila Sukadev Goswami was born a Vaishnava, and therefore Brahmanism was included in him. He did not have to undergo any ceremonies. Any low-born person, be he a Kirata, Huna, Andara, Palinda, Pokash, Abir, Shumba, Yavana, Kasa, or even lower, can be delivered to the highest transcendental position by the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Srila Sukadev Goswami was the spiritual master of Sri Sutta Goswami, who therefore offers his respectful obeisances unto Srila Sukadev Goswami before he begins his answers to the questions of the sages at Nayamisharanya.
Yes, Naimisharanya. Thank you, Bruce. Omang Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupankara Mayam Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavi Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare. Naimisharanya. It's like 80 miles. If you any of you been to Mathura or Vrindavan? Some of you? You've been to Vrindavan, Tulsi. How old were you? Yes. 13. How did you like? Is this the only one you went? One time? 12 and 13. So how did you like it? So for those of you who haven't, please, by all means, at least once in a lifetime. But don't go alone. Don't go alone. Be guided. Because this verse is also all about guidance. We can't make it alone. We cannot make it alone on this path. Actually, to think that we can make it alone is a fantasy. Waste of time. You're just wasting your time. There's a story, a funny story of, I think I said that before. I'll say it again. Repetitium est madre studiorum, as they say. Repetition is the mother of learning. So there was a German baron. You know what baron is? It's like a high class, like a aristocratic, medieval aristocracy baron. Usually they come with a fancy clothes and fancy hats. And they have a feather. Not a peacock, that's reserved. Some pheasant, some feather, and they ride on a horse, and they live in castles. So he decided to go into his weekend activity, Krishna house weekend activities, riding his horse through in the forest, and he was alone, unlike any other time. And the horse ended up running into. There you go. There's the baron. Imagine one of those. He's riding his horse, and the horse somehow ran into the quicksand or quick mud. They have those here in Florida? No? Okay. Anyway, you know what it is, right? So the horse freaked out, started moving, and one of the things about quicksand, the more you move, the more you sink. So always keep your cool head. This is There's another lesson in this. Whatever your life situation is, always keep the cool head, because the more you try to fix it, the more you're going to be swallowed by the darkness of quicksand. So anyway, Baron was also, wow, what's going on? And it was too late. He was already up to here, and it was like, and then when he was up to here, he had a brilliant idea. He kicked his fancy hat off his head, grabbed his head by his hair, pulled himself up. Some are laughing already. Pulled himself up and put himself in a safe ground. Well done. Can we have a... however, there is one small problem. What is the problem? The physics. It does not work that way in real life. This is from a, fable or a story, medieval story, that it's a fantasy. It doesn't work that way. It's the physics. Maybe Bruce did it because his shika is very long and very strong. Maybe if he did, it would work. Yeah, look at that. That's power. It's working. Oh yeah. He would helicopter it out. Very good. Yes, we have a solution. No, somebody else grabs for the shika. Who grabs for the shika? Yes, Krishna grabs it. That's why it's good to have a. Anyway. Bruce has a good one. Krishna won't struggle with Bruce. Just, easy peasy. Yes. That's a problem. We can't make it on our own. So, in Vrindavan, get guidance. Don't just go to Vrindavan or Mathura on your own, because you have a lot of questions. There will be no answers, or some answers that might confuse you even more. So there will be a trouble. 80 miles southeast from Mathura, there is a place called Naimisharaya. Still, even today. I think Kunti, you went, right? Okay, honest. I always appreciate honesty. But yeah, find out. It's a great place. I never been, but I heard it's a great place. There, sages on the cusp, in between the two ages, right? Cusp, right? Cusp. Between two ages of Dwapara and Kali, say many of them, 80,000 apparently. You can take this off. I don't think it's very purifying. After the story was concluded, there's no need. We have purified them. We have just purified them by engaging them. So thank you for your compassion. They have gathered there in a large number, 80,000 sages. Gathered for what reason? Because they had they had a heart of compassion, and they wanted to do something about upcoming dark age of Kali, on this mad world, upcoming mad world. But we think we can do it on our own. It's just ragged individualism, and we don't need nobody. I was distributing books last week. Oh, it was so funny. I gave the Gita, like a nice couple, young couple. I never seen them before. Maybe they were students, maybe not. But she took it. And I told them a little bit, and we built a nice report. And she opened the book, and the moment she saw something, she closed the book. I was like, what happened? She said, it says, Supreme Lord. Lord Supreme. We don't believe in that. We don't accept that. I was like, okay, interesting. Well, thank you for sharing that. What do you accept? And then there was a pause. Because everybody accepts something, right? Everybody bows down to something. We bow down to each other. Everybody has some sets of values. But that, that my question to her kind of stalled her. And I said, well, I don't think you're ready. And I pulled it back out. So I felt that like I felt that jerk, like, oh, like, I want to be ready. Like, what do you mean I'm not ready? So it was a little, we don't want to throw the pearls, as they say, in front of those who are unable. Well, I don't want to say swine, but I just did. I just did. So those who are unable, those who are unable to appreciate, I didn't make it. Somebody came up with that phrase. Oh, he did. she did. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Oh, what to do? What to do when people don't know how to appreciate? It says, don't speak unless you see somebody's paying attention and listen, right? Be able to pause. People, like if you weren't listening now, which you are, most of you, why would I continue? Or why would you continue if I didn't listen? So it's good to pause sometimes. So that was my pause. Okay, you're not ready. And so I think that question, like, what do you accept, should be our weapon as we deal with those ragged individuals. They think they don't need nobody. They are the Supreme. They are the Lord. And they can make it on their own. And at the same time, they got to clock in. They got to go to school. They got to do so many things. And they hate it because there's deep-rooted envy of following anybody. And that's the original disease, deep-rooted envy. So sages gather there out of their compassion, to do something about this. And there was a pushback. They were trying to stall by the power of their sacrifice, by the power of their yajna and their gathering. They were trying to stall the upcoming dark age of the mad world. And they didn't know, actually, before that, they didn't know where to go, because we know the places, they determine the power of activity. Like you can chant Hare Krishna and your japa out there in front of the publics, meditating, what's your early morning beverage going to be? Or you can chant it here in temple room. Do you think there will be a difference in the impact of your japa? Who thinks there will be a difference? Okay, so that's common sense, right? So where can we do this sacrifice? So they approached Brahma. And Brahma said, oh, very nice. Let me show you. So apparently he had a chakra. And he sent the chakra. So he released the chakra and told the sages, you just follow this chakra, and wherever hits the earth, you'll do that there. So all the sages ran after chakra, and the chakra hit the spot of Naimisharanya. So there's a place there called Chakra Tirtha. It's actually a lake, Chakra Tirtha Lake. And apparently, chakra continued all the way to the Garbhodaka ocean. And then Durga Devi had to intervene because all the demigods were freaking out. It's like, what's going on? This splash is going to destroy everything. And even the sages, they were concerned, like there'll be no earth, all this water will come. So Durga Devi had to intervene, and the whole situation was saved. But going back where it hit the earth, this Chakratirtha lake, apparently it's bottomless. English, a few centuries ago, they tried to measure it. So they took a chain and they measured, they kept feeding it. They kept feeding it, and they eventually they gave up after a mile and a half. Gave up. Because there was no bottom. Himalayas about what, 6 miles high? Yeah, about 6 miles. And but the greatest depth of the ocean, what it is? Yeah, Marianne, do you know the depth? What do you guys think? Just guess. Is it more than Himalayas or less? Yes, it's 7 miles. It's 1 mile more. How deep is the ocean? Meditate on that. And Krishna is compared to ocean. Vast, deep. So they were doing that, but they gave up after a mile and a half. So who knows? I don't know if they discovered today. But nevertheless, sages got the information. They got the designated spot. And they decided, we're going to perform a sacrifice here. And by providence, Sutta Goswami now very excited. He's very excited. Why Sutta as a speaker is very excited. After all these questions, six questions. We won't go. Okay, let's get into it. What are the 6 questions? I was thinking you all know it, but again, maybe we can repeat it. Yes.
Best activity for all people in general?
Yes. Especially, and then especially of the one who's about to die, which is all of us. There's no guarantees. Do you know how many days or minutes you have, Anthony? Will it be accurate to say you're dying now? Yes, we all are. But by illusion, we think, oh, okay, I have time. Right, Nitai? I have time. By my calculations, I have at least 40, 50 years, right? But in reality, who can guarantee? King Parikshit was lucky to have guaranteed 7 days. You know that joke? Okay. Can I tell a joke? There was a guy. Did I tell that one guy coming to the doctor? And then the doctor said, come in 7 days, we'll give you the results. You remember? Anyway, I'll say again, it's a good one. He said, come in 7 days, we'll read the result tests. So he came back and he said, okay, doctor, what's the story? He said, well, I have good news and bad news. Which one you want to hear first? He said, well, give me the good one first. And the doctor said, well, the good one is you have 2 days to live. He said, that's a good one? What's the bad one? He says, well, I was looking for you yesterday. I couldn't find you. All day I was looking for you, but I couldn't find you. So there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee. Questions. So what is the best thing to do for anybody at all times? What duty to follow and to perform, especially for one who is about to die, and that's pretty much happening as we're speaking right now. We are all set on fire. Believe it or not, everything is set on blaze. The small chemical reactions, chemistry, right? Nita, chemistry is fire, right? Any chemical interaction is like a minute, there's some fire there, some friction, right? We can say that. So samsara davana loka. literally the whole world is set ablaze, right? If you see it that way. We see a beautiful nature, there's gardenia there blooming, but it's actually on a micro level, it's set ablaze. It's set in a motion of entropy, right? Entropy is devouring creation through the Ridra principle, or principle Lord Shiva, who is destroyed imperceptibly, but nevertheless is there. That is reality. Okay, other questions. What are the other questions that sages were so eager, and Sutta is so pleased because they were so eager? Yes.
What are the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna?
Yeah, so there were 3 questions about Krishna and 3 about, what to do. The final one, where can we find the light now that Krishna is gone? Right? So Sutta is very excited. What a nice questions, wonderful questions. But it doesn't just start rambling. What does it do? He offers his pranams to who? Yeah, to everybody. All of them. We heard that in a previous chapter. He calls all the sages, he compares them to sun-like sages. Who is the sage? Sage is the one who is concerned about others, who is ready to sacrifice his time, his energy, sometimes even his life for others. We call those heroes, the purple hearts, right? What do they call them? The heroes, yeah, those who are willing to, and there's many of those, we thank them for their service, right? Military service. They've given life for their country, for others, other fellow men. That's the sage. That's the good heart. Sage, that's what it is. It's a good heart. And there's many, and rightly we recognize them. As Sutta Goswami recognized all of them and glorified. And then now he's glorifying Shukadev. He's offering his pranams, glorifying Shukadev, who has entered the hearts. Gautam, who can enter the hearts of all. When he went away to take up the renounced order of life, leaving home without undergoing reformation by the sacred thread. So that's the point in the purport. Prabhupada talks about being dvija. We as humans, we're also dvijas, like birds. Birds are dvijas. They take birth from the egg, then their second birth is airborne. They become airborne. They leave their nest, like all of you. You have left your nest of Tallahassee, Philadelphia, South Africa, Bolivia, Mexico, El Paso, Canada, Jacksonville, Orlando nest, Boise, St. Louis. Yeah, we're left. Why? Why did we left our nest? Because we want to experience this second birth. We want to become airborne and soar high in the sky of freedom. How do we do that? How do we soar high? Can we do it with just our own strength? Have you seen the birds doing this? Going higher and higher? They don't do it by their own strength. They just position their wings And then they're pulled up and up and up by the winds, by the higher power. So in Krishna consciousness, we learn how to adjust our wings. And trust me, because I grew up windsurfing, every wind is a favorable wind if you know how to adjust your sail or your wings. So that's the art. That's the art of Krishna consciousness. And knowing how to respond to our situations. Don't react. Keep the cool head. Because the more you're reacting, it's like quicksand. And that, most people actually just reacting to what's happening. Completely bound, powerless by the modes of nature. So devotee is the one who can pause, think, and respond, right, to what's happening. And one of the best responses is, like Sutta Goswami is exemplifying, offering respects, gratitude, right, to Shukadev. And without that, without feeling connected to something powerful, something higher than us, we can't really make a headway. And with that empowerment, there's really no limit to what one can do. Right? When one becomes an instrument, there's really no limit of how much he or she can overcome the conditioning. I'll tell you a very nice story of a dear friend of mine, Prabhupada disciple from Philadelphia. Actually, he was living at that time in Philly. He made the first Ratha Yatra cart, Philadelphia Ratha Yatra, that Prabhupada attended. Prabhupada inspected the cart with his cane. He was very impressed. He said, "Who built this?" And they said, "Sudha Jiva, Prabhu." Oh, very nice. He has built it so nice. He's like the descendant of the architects of the demigods. He made that remark. And Prabhupada was very pleased. But same Sudha Jiva that Prabhupada glorified was somehow ended up in India, and it was very difficult for him. It was difficult for him to undergo austerities, undergo the climate, the food. It was just, everything was just hard. And many devotees from West struggled in India, at that time, because it's different. Everything is different, and they were not used to it. So the word came to Prabhupada when he visited, and I think at that time, who was in charge there? It was in Delhi, I think. Anyway, devotee in charge. So Prabhupada, our men, they can't perform. It's too austere for them. Prabhupada said, "Call him." And he knew it was Sudha Jiva, especially, that it was having a hard time. So Prabhupada said, when he called them in, he said, "I'm an old man, and I travel all over the world, and I'm not used to it." It wasn't, traveling all over the world like jet setters. That's their dream, right? It wasn't easy like for Prabhupada. It was austerity for him. At that age, 12 times around the globe, always on the clock, lectures, morning, evening, always letters, corresponding, all of that on top of his Bhaktivedanta purports that he translated early in the morning, and traveling so much. He said, "I'm not used to it." But Says, but somehow I manage because I know Krishna is there. And then he gave an example, just like father and the son, when they're walking through the desert, it's harsh. Desert environment is very harsh. But because they have each other, it's okay. Right? So having that Krishna's invisible hand, having that stick of support in our own life, it's essential. What is our stick of support? How can we manage to survive through the desert of our life? Huh? I can't hear. Association of who? Devotees. Some say guru. Well, everybody's a guru. We say Prabhu. Everybody's addressed as a master because we can learn. With a proper mindset, we can learn from everybody, right? Mukam karoti vachalam, angum angayate girim, yat kripa tamaham, shiguru tinatara. That by the mercy of Guru and the Vaishnava, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's the you weren't here. That's a sign language for Maha Mantra. So there's no impediment. There's no impediment for those who have bestowed the facility of Sadhu Sangha, the mercy of Vaishnavas and the Guru. There's no impediment. It's just a matter of adjusting ourselves. We'll become recipient. Because both are important. You can have a perfect Guru, but unless you're open to receive, nothing will happen. No transmission will take place. You have a radio, but if the radio is broken, you can have a perfect transmitter. Nothing will play. You can have perfect radio ready to receive, but if there's no transmitter. We're so fortunate that Srila Prabhupada has built with his hard work and labor of love, has built this society from nothing. Blessed by Radharani, as Srila Prabhupada's father would ask all these sages coming to Prabhupada's father's Gaur Mohan Day home. He said, please bless Abai, Charan, Abai, Babu, my son, please, that he might become a devotee of Radharani. So blessed by Radharani, who is the original Guru. Speaking about Guru, for some is Balaram, for some is Radharani. They both are, depending on what your relationship is. But she's also known as the original Guru. Actually, everything that Krishna knows is learned from her. He learned how to dance because she showed him. She showed him also how to play the flute. So these are not ordinary things. You know, the facility that we have, we can think it as something ordinary, but then we won't be able to experience it. We take it, God forbid, take it for granted. Anything powerful, when it's, you know, dealt with in a not so careful way, it can backfire. So as long as we are aware that sadhusanga is very special, we won't think of let's say, taking it for granted, or God forbid, offending devotees. That is a sure way to create a lot of havoc in our spiritual life. And, you know, we might make mistakes, but to err is human. And what you do is you just apologize, right? Unless we can deal with each other in a respectful and ideally loving way, and this facility will be there, but we won't serve that purpose of us becoming airborne and soaring the sky of freedom. Freedom to choose to serve Krishna in so many different ways. Because all services are wonderful. And most important is the service of Shravana and Kirtana. When Shukadev left home, he was in his womb for 16 years. Don't ask me how. But when he was born, he just went through the door. He didn't even say, "Hi, Mom, hi, Dad." He just went through the door and just disappeared in the forest. The only way Vyasadeva, his father, is describing this birth, he ran out, "Oh, my son, oh, my son," because he was attached. Shukadeva was so pure, that even the trees, some acharyas, even the trees were, the echo from the trees was also them lamenting for Shukadeva. But the way Vyasadeva was able to bring it, Shukadeva back, because he sent some of the disciples to recite Bhagavatam. So that brought him back. And one of the verses is the one that comes in Gopi Gita. The narrations of your glories, a life and soul of all those suffering in this world. Those narrations are filled with transcendental power. They've been distributed all around the world by the kind-hearted sages, because they know they can mitigate the suffering of living entities in this world. And they can bring about peace and satisfaction. Satisfaction that's never really there. People want to be satisfied, but try hard, or die trying. Get rich on that. It never cuts it. Satisfaction is right there, but it's looked for in a wrong place. And that is, my dear devotees, a formula of pain or suffering. It's misplaced hope. We're looking for it outside, but it's already in. To be satisfied, wow, that's such an asset, right? To be satisfied. We're not against progress, don't get me wrong. But first of all, to learn how to be satisfied. That is possible only in Krishna consciousness. Because with that link, Krishna will be nourished and fulfilled. All right. We'll stop here. Prabhu. No questions, no comments. 1. Yes. Any? Okay, everything is clear. Sure. Or nothing is clear.
Sutta Goswami is talking about Sukadev Goswami. Is that his spiritual master? Sukadev Goswami?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, he's like, first off, let's start here.
He was there.
Sukadev was there?
Sutta was there
Yeah.
when Shuka spoke. Earlier, when he spoke to Parikshit.
Sukadev spoke to Parikshit.
Correct. There's multiple conversations going on. So original one is Shukadev talking to Parikshit. But Sutta happened to be there. So therefore he's able to recall the conversation, and therefore in his heart he feels grateful what he has heard from his spiritual master, Shukadev. Was he Shiksha or Diksha? It doesn't matter. He has heard it and he was illuminated by it. Illumination, that's what matters. If you become illuminated, you follow that path. We follow the path of illumination. That's what matters.
His father was Vyasadeva, who compiled the Vedas. Did Vyasadeva write down this? Is he writing this?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
He's right. Apparently, he's writing what you are speaking right now. Still, somewhere in Himalayas, there's a account of Gauranga Lila. Okay, I'll just say this. It'll be very short. It's a living book. Srimad Bhagavatam is not just between these two hardbounds, whatever, 12 cantos. It's a living book. It's an ongoing thing. So, Vyasadeva, who is Chiranjiva, he exists always. He's taking note of, apparently, of our Tuesday and Friday programs. So be very careful how you are representing. Okay, breakfast time. I will not speak anymore. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Nitai, Gaur Sitana Premananda.